morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whenever it is you're tuning in. Welcome to Ticket Price Allergy Edition. If I sound stuffed, it's because I am. I am regretting that soundbite. Let's not take that out of context.
Oh, no, it's out there now.
I have a stuffy nose because of pollen in the air flaring up my allergies, so you'll have to bear with me. Shut up! Shut up! I don't feel good!
I'll do anything I can to help.
Just stop talking. Woo! Welcome to Ticket Price. I am your co-host, Jake. Normally the voice of the show. We will all just grin and get through this together. Sitting across the way, co-host extraordinaire, master and commander. That's not what I normally say. And the only man, I don't feel good, the only man who thinks more movies should be handed over to Zach Snyder. Tevis at Master Control. Tevis, how are you, sir?
Yeah, we don't have enough slow motion in movies now.
We don't have enough 6-hour movies.
Imagine Dune with more slow motion.
That would require me to watch
that
Dune.
Movie would be like 4 hours long.
Like Snyder movies.
Yes.
The Snyder Cut. Gah. What am I talking about? Oh, we're talking about 300.
This is where we hold them. This is where we fight. This is where they die. And the Shield Boys.
Released in 2006, based on the graphic novel series by Frank Miller and Lynn Varley. Written by Zach Snyder, Kurt Johnstad, and Michael B. Gordon. Not Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Gordon.
I was like, wait a minute, really?
No, Gordon.
Okay, I'm glad you corrected that.
I feel like we should pause here.
Okay.
Three writers.
Yep.
The three-writer curse.
This place is cursed. Cursed. It's got a death curse.
Maybe it'll break today. Maybe.
We'll see.
We'll see. Directed by Zach Snyder. I would like to pause here. I really got to scratching my head. I'm like, okay, other movies that of Zach Snyder's that I have seen. And I was coming up a big old blank. And then as like my friend who was telling me, he's like, well, what about this? I was like, oh, that sucks. Well, and this, I'm like, ooh, that sucks. And then it dawned on me very quickly, I don't like Zack Snyder movies.
Yeah, like I've watched The Watchmen, Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch is overrated.
Sucker Punch is terrible. Batman versus Superman.
Martha!
Justice League. Army of the Dead. It's the Netflix with Dave Bautista.
That looked awful, so I didn't watch it.
I like Bautista.
I think he's a good actor. The movie looked bad.
Yeah, he's a good actor. And his latest films.
His latest and greatest
is Rebel Moon.
I have heard nothing but bad things about Rebel Moon.
I watched 15 minutes of it, and I was done.
So you're ready for the sequel?
It was so boring, and I didn't give a shit about any of the characters at all.
So you were first in line for part 2.
Absolutely.
I didn't even know what it was, and I still don't know what Rebel Moon is or what it's about. I just know everyone hates it.
I think my favorite one I've watched of his, and this is probably it's Man of Steel. And that movie has major problems. First of all, it's Superman.
It does, yeah.
But
although I give Man of Steel a lot of passes because I like Henry Cavill. I like Henry Cavill in general, but he also makes a great Superman.
He does.
Suck it, Christopher Reeve, right? Henry Cavill's a great Superman. But also, I got my wife and I's tickets to see it for free because the job I had at the time was doing a big promotional event for Man of Steel, and they were giving away free tickets to it at the local theater, but not enough people were taking them, so they started handing them out to employees. And I went, yeah, I'll take 2. Free movie. Yeah, I don't even care what it is.
Heck yeah.
So, because we would not have gone to see it otherwise. And I remember we both walked away going, it was fine.
Yeah, it was
fine.
It was enjoyable, but
I like Henry Cavill.
Yeah. Oh, and then there was Legend of the Guardians, the owls of
Okay.
Gahulu. Googly Moogly? I don't know.
Yes, that was it. The Owls of Googly Moogly. Didn't see it. Not only did I not see it, never heard anything about it.
It was meh.
Yeah.
But, man, Zach Snyder has done a lot of music videos, and it shows in his films.
Kind of like Rob Zombie movies.
Yeah.
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 I'm not going to lie. Sometimes skills don't translate. You can be a great music video director, but that doesn't mean you can direct TV or movies. You can direct TV and not movies or music. You know, you can do movies, but not TV or music video. Like, directing one of these mediums doesn't inherently make you capable or qualified to direct in other mediums.
I agree.
So maybe just stick to what you're good at and quit ruining things. All right. Back to 300. Starring Gerard Butler and Lena Headey. Budget made with an made with an estimated $65 million. And a worldwide gross. Worldwide
gross.
I don't feel good.
Come on, Rocky. Read that script.
I'm trying. Made with a worldwide gross of $456 million.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It made its money back.
Damn.
With 19 award wins and an additional 57 nominations. None of the biggies, but, still. All right. What is your history with 300?
I remember seeing the trailer for it, and I thought this looked interesting. It's different. It was very different at that time, but I never went to the theater to watch it. I watched it at home. I remember enjoying it, but it's like, oh, okay, that was interesting. That was fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I went on with my life. But I know people who this movie is almost like their life at that time.
Yeah.
Once it came out, it's like people who do CrossFit want you to know they do CrossFit.
Right. I'm vegan.
Yeah. But that's what, have you seen 300? I'm like, yeah. Oh my God, wasn't it this blah, 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 and they're vomiting 300 shit all over you. And it's like, calm down, Bruce. Please.
It's getting real low.
Like, damn. But I mean, I was never a big Frank Miller fan.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
That might have played a part in it. But I watched it, I enjoyed it, and I went on with my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started seeing more movies taking on that look.
There were a lot of style clones.
And it got to be a little ridiculous.
You know what it was like? Like after the first Matrix in 99.
Oh, absolutely.
And then it seemed like every movie that immediately came out after, you just went, and they're ripping off the Matrix.
Yeah. It's like, the reason the Matrix was successful was because of bullet time. No. You're missing the point. But there was this, there was Sin City.
Yeah.
And then
which is also Frank Miller, I believe.
Yeah, and then the Sin City sequel. And what was the Spirit? The guy with the tie? Get me a tie and make sure it's red.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh God, I saw the trailer for that and I'm like, that looks like a piece of shit. And it had Samuel L. Jackson in it too, so I was kind of disappointed that I never wanted to watch it, but
Yeah.
no, I've heard enough about it. I was like, no, fuck that movie.
Although I think Sin City came out before 300.
It may have. So I may have had that backwards.
Yeah, but still.
I just know that it got to be a little bit overdone.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what's your history with this film?
I did see this movie in theaters.
Really?
Again, I'm a history guy, and my friends and I were history people, and we were very familiar with the real life battle that 300 depicts. So that it inherently piqued our interest in that regard. And especially for me, I'm a big sword and sandals film guy. Jason and the Argonauts, Clash of the Titans, Gladiator, Spartacus. Like, I like those kinds of movies. There should be more of them. And then we saw the trailer, and the style at the time, it was new, it was different, it looked unique. So we definitely went and saw it in theaters. I remember enjoying it. It's in my collection. I dug out the old DVD of it. Not even Blu-ray, it's still DVD. And that's what I watched. But before watching it for this show, honest to God, I couldn't tell you the last time I saw it. I know I had watched it a handful of times after seeing it in the theater, but yeah, as far as when, I couldn't tell you.
Same here.
All right. So we'll save the ratings and reviews for the end. Getting into it. Movie opens with some, again, we've talked about this before, exposition dumping narration. But the guy doing the narrating, I can't think of the actor's name, but Faramir from Lord of the Rings.
David Wyndham.
Great voice. Fantastic voice.
I like his voice. I don't like the actor, though.
Sure.
I don't know why. I don't know what it is. There's just something. He doesn't. Physically, he doesn't fit the role.
In this movie or in general?
In this movie.
Okay.
I don't know what it is about him that just doesn't work for me.
Sure.
But no, he has a great voice.
Once David Attenborough finally dies, they need to get him.
Oh, yeah.
Be like, and the grizzly bear. I'm like, yeah!
Yes.
He just needs to do nature documentaries. But he tells the story, gives us a brief introduction about Sparta, the Greek city-state of Sparta, their harsh ways of life, like the inspecting the children. If they were deemed weak or disfigured, they would be cast off a mountainside. That is historically accurate. Not that we're keeping track of historical accuracy, because that's not what we're about. But if you were curious, that is historically accurate. The Spartan training camp that 7-year-olds go to, that's also accurate. But we're following the journey of this boy. We see him being inspected as a child. We see him growing up and learning to fight at the academy. And then he eventually goes out on his own with nothing but his underwear and a spear to fight the wilderness and come back as a man, or to not come back at all. And we learn that this young man is King Leonidas.
Yeah, so we have 15 minutes of child abuse.
Yes.
And
which,
then,
if you listen to our coverage of The Incredibles, it can be hilarious.
But yeah, the dead baby pit, like you
historically accurate.
You start off with the images of all the baby skulls.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oof.
And then the guy standing up there holding the baby, just looking him over like, I better not find a mole or you're going down. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Start this off on a bummer note.
Kind of, but at the same time, I feel like, so I don't feel like this dwells too hard on any one thing. Like, it keeps going decent. It's still, how do I put this? I'm hyping it. I'm not hyping it up. I'm praising it within the context that it is still the faux pas of a narration exposition dump montage. That being said, though, it covers a lot of information. We get a lot of nice looking scenes, and it clips along decently well. Young Leonidas fighting the wolf still looks cool.
Yeah, his father is pretty hard on him.
That's just Well, and the guy we see, there's a good chance that wasn't his dad. That could have just been an instructor
That
at
is
the
true.
academy.
The
Backhands the shit out of him.
Yeah, because when I was watching this, I saw that part, and then we get to the part where Leonidas is training his son.
Right.
And I'm like, man, Leonidas was way nicer to his kid.
But again, I don't believe that what we saw or who we saw was his dad. I believe we saw an academy instructor.
That's fair.
And when Leonidas' son goes to the academy, he will be
Gonna get the shit kicked out of him.
because they beat them down to ignore pain and suffering and to keep going. The movie doesn't go into it, but during the academy, there would be competitions where the academy would essentially open its doors and let an audience come in. And this was one of the few times that the parents of a boy in the academy could see their son. But they would all be all the kids are facing the wall, and they're hugging a column, and they're in nothing. They're completely naked, hugging a column, and the audience is looking at their backs as the instructors, with a rod or a stick, beat them, with the sole purpose being last one standing wins.
That sounds fun.
That sounds like a
God.
lovely time. And parents would be like, come on, son, you can do it. Ignore it. You're fine, And yeah, that was a common event
Okay.
of Spartan societies. They would just see how much you could endure.
You need to bring that back into high schools instead of football and basketball. Just have this.
I can think of a few kids in high school that would have probably turned out better if they had been beaten down a few more times in their life.
Yeah, I have a few of those in mind too.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not going to completely poo-poo it. Getting back to the movie, though. So, I remember seeing it in theaters and enjoying the visual style, and it has aged. Because this movie's almost 20 years old at the time of recording.
Honestly, that kind of surprised me because I don't know. Time flew.
Right?
Damn.
And with the aging, but the visual style I still thought was cool. It still works, especially because it still has an element of uniqueness, even if it is very brown and drab.
It is. It looks like somebody painted with coffee.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
But you're right, though. It does look.
You get the color of clay. What else do I get?
Dark clay.
You have light clay and you have dark clay. You have both clays.
But no, there was a number of shots in this movie that if you just take the screenshot, you could hang it up in a frame and it's a piece of art.
Yeah.
There's quite a few of these shots.
But we see Leonidas, he fights the wolf, and this is important because, it's not fear that grips him, just a heightened sense of things, and he wedges himself so his enemy, larger, stronger, faster, can only come at him one way, and the boy is ready. And it's paralleling the Persian advance later on, and Leonidas's strategy for dealing with this enemy. But he kills the wolf, comes back a hero, is made king. Then, like we said, we see him training his son, albeit not as closed-fistedly.
I like that.
That's not a term, but it is.
It is now.
It definitely is. But all of a sudden, a messenger comes. We see a well-dressed man riding a horse, dangling off of his saddle, crowned skulls. Man gets off his horse and announces he is a messenger from Emperor Xerxes of Persia.
I really like the moment where the horse rears up and it goes into that slow motion.
And the skulls are right there in the forefront.
Absolutely.
And
that was really cool.
And again, that's one of those shots. I will give this movie credit for that. But it's hard for me to give Zach Snyder credit for that Because you're thinking, well, that doesn't make any sense. He's the director. That's his shot. You give him credit for that. Except all the really awesome, good-looking shots are directly from the Frank Miller, Lynn Varley series that he just went, oh, yeah, we got to have that in there. So I can't give Snyder credit for an idea that wasn't actually his.
Yeah, storyboarding for this movie must have been simple.
Yeah, they opened the
Exactly.
fucking graphic novel and they went, oh yeah, 1, 2, 3, all this.
All of
right
this, just make it move.
Yeah.
But slowly.
Make it move. Oh, make it move so slowly it almost doesn't move. So there is that, yeah.
So I was thinking this after watching it for this show. Is Leonidas an asshole?
They all are, yeah. Aren't we?
No, I'm not. Like, okay, so he kills the messenger
Yes.
and kills all of them. How many, like
a dozen people, yeah.
Did he just escalate the war?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
How do I put this? In the story, even if you don't know anything about the events it's based on, right? The guy makes he's like, because even when the messenger's talking to Leonidas, because Leonidas hits him with, well, I've heard that the Athenians have turned you down. Like, the Persian messengers are hitting all the city-states of Greece, demanding surrender and subjugation. No matter what, Xerxes is coming. Xerxes isn't going to base the staging and carrying out of an entire war based on a messenger or even a messenger party. Think about Xerxes in this movie. You think he gives a shit about Messenger 42?
Yeah, but man, they kill a lot of messengers.
Yeah.
This isn't the first or the last ones that they take out.
Not at all. No.
And there's some things that happen later that I kind of question Leonidas's leadership.
We'll get to those now, but you mentioned, is Leonidas an asshole? So the guy says, we want earth and water, blah, blah, blah. Leonidas lets him know, please understand this. It is Spartan law. Everyone is held accountable for their words, even messengers. That understanding, deliver your message. The messenger is an asshole who talks shit about Leonidas and about Leonidas' wife.
That's true. Okay.
Leonidas warns him up front. Did that messenger, what in that messenger's message involved him talking shit?
You got a point there. Okay.
Hey, I understand you're just the messenger, but just know, if you say something that displeases me, I'll fuck you up. I understand. Here's my message. Also, eat my ass, you piece of shit. You are a dirty, child-loving motherfucker piece. And then, yes, you got your ass kicked. Like, what? Obviously. Now, Leonidas is an asshole because we get the great, what, you draw your blade on a messenger? This is madness. Madness. This is Sparta, which is great.
That is.
I like Gerard Butler as an actor, and I love him as Leonidas.
I do too. And he looks strikingly like the comic or the graphic novel.
Oh, does he really? I haven't seen. Yeah.
I looked it up for the show, and man,
I'm sure I've looked it up once upon a time, but I don't.
Yeah, and I like Gerard Butler.
I like Gerard Butler. I think he's underrated.
He is underrated.
But then does the Spartan kick, which even now in popular culture, we know that front kick move as the Spartan kick from 300. Now, here's where I think this Leonidas might be an asshole. You thought killing the messenger might have been it. Hear me out. He kills the messenger. The guards kill the entourage. They dump them all into a well. The city fucking drinks from there, man. Now there's like 10 dead bodies. You can't use that water.
Somebody's poisoned the water hole.
Yeah, you got to fish them out.
Is there just some guy with a pole and a hook trying to get these bodies out of the drinking water? What the shit?
Yeah, that's not his first time doing that. He's like,
No, there's
God damn it, Leonidas. Again?
he talks shit. Yeah, that's fine, just not in the well.
Take him to the cliff.
And shortly after this visit is where the invention of the well cover comes from.
Yeah, that guy invented it as he's fishing out the
He's
last.
like, there's got to be a better way than this.
There's got to be a better way.
If we could just if we prevent the bodies from going in, I don't have to fish them out. Wait a minute. We just put something over the well.
$1 million idea.
Although it never helped Timmy.
Jesus.
Oh,
or baby Jessica.
Bart Simpson. Anyone else who's fallen down a well. So
that guy went on to later invent the ShamWow.
Wait. And then have sex with that hooker and then beat the shit out of her. I'm telling you, man, those infomercial guys party like no other.
I looked that up, by the way.
I'm right?
You were right. Yeah, it was
thought
the
I was.
ShamWow guy. Oh, my God.
He kissed her, and she bit him,
Yeah.
and he beats the crap out of her.
I seen this mugshot. You could see on his lip where she had bit him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he looked just miserable in that mugshot, and I loved it.
You relished in his
did.
misery. You relished in his misery like a Spartan drinking corpse water. You just enjoyed every moment of it.
That's probably what happened to those guys that are up in the tower. They drank too much corpse water.
Well, that well feeds the priests at the temple.
Yeah.
That's Leonidas does it on purpose. Fuck these guys.
Fuck those lizard people.
Is this supposed to be water?
It's wet, ain't it? Drink it!
So, war is coming, right? Now, again, not to dwell too much on it, but you were like, did it escalate the war? In a pure movie sense, I don't think it did. Historically, not even a little. Xerxes was coming for blood. Well, that's a separate issue. But in the movie, Xerxes is coming for blood, right? But even though he's king, Leonardo, leader of the Turtles, has to talk to Splinter. No, what am I doing? Oh, Leonidas. I don't feel good. Leonidas.
This movie would be amazing with the turtles.
With the turtles in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Which one gets decapitated?
Michelangelo.
Mikey!
No!
Gnarly dude! Blech.
No!
Oh. Now I'm sad.
Yeah, sadder than I am when that kid got decapitated.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
But we're not there.
Leonidas can't just declare war. He has to ask the oracle and the priests that attend her for permission. He makes the treacherous climb up the mountain. That looks cool.
Absolutely.
And we learn that the priests are diseased and inbred and disformed, and how they didn't get chucked off a cliff.
I was wondering the same
But
thing.
I think they are outside that law because they are the priests. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a priest and I have some kind of inbred offspring. And if it's a boy, they will be a priest. Kind of, maybe. Like, I'm just talking out of my ass. I don't know. But I'm thinking that there's some kind of,
the rules don't apply to them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sounds like somebody in charge.
But they say absolutely not. You're not going to war. An ancient festival is coming up. We have to honor it. And Leonidas is like, your festival won't matter when we're all slaughtered. So they go to the oracle, and the oracle inhales some smoke that I'm sure wasn't at all hallucinogenic.
No, not at all.
And she goes into a dance convulsion, which also looks good. You know how that was filmed?
Underwater.
She's underwater.
Yeah, that was really cool, though. I like that a lot.
Yeah. It looks great.
I'm going to be saying that a lot in this.
It's true. But again, I can give Zach Snyder some credit, but not all. Because again, look at You know, and to be fair, it probably wasn't his idea to be like, how do we get this effect? Put her underwater. If it was, kudos to him. But
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it was.
more than likely, that wasn't it. He went, how do we get this shot?
Yeah, somebody else.
How do I make this page real? And they went, okay, if I take your graphic novel, flip to page 42, that. How do we make her look like that? And somebody went, tank of water. But that was cool. It looks good.
Was cool.
But then she whispers in the priest's ear as he licks her face, I don't like face licking. I didn't like this face licking, and I don't like face licking in general. In my moments of intimacy, there is no face licking. If you come up to me and you're like, oh, Jake, no, I'm out. Don't lick my face.
Yeah, and for some reason, I felt like that tongue is probably really dry.
Like a cat's tongue. It feels like sandpaper.
I feel like I'm gonna throw up.
It just makes a scratchy noise.
Yeah, that disgusts me.
But she says, honor the festival. They cannot go to war. Then we find out after Leonidas leaves, the priests have been bribed by the Persians and the Spartan senator, who's also in league with the Persians.
So the guy from the Persian army,
Yeah,
that's bribing the priests.
Yeah.
Why, when they faded to black, did his eyes stay white?
so see, I thought that too, because I'm like, he's not the wolf, because the wolf is Xerxes, and the wolf's eyes were yellow.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say it was a shot, or it was a panel in the graphic novel that Zach Snyder really liked. It doesn't make any sense, though.
Doesn't make any sense. And we never see this guy again.
No.
So
Maybe he has some Morbius powers. Maybe he was like, it's Morbin time, and the lights went low, and his vampire eyes light up.
And God.
Morbin time?
I'm going to get racial.
But wait, here's a new development, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, no. Please don't.
It seemed a little racist because it was almost like in the dark, you can't see other than when they smile.
Because it was his eyes and his teeth illuminated, and you
Yes.
couldn't see. I get where you're coming from.
And that, no, I hated it.
It doesn't. The idea works, and the effect is cool if that character and or that moment
Calls for it.
makes that shot in any way relevant, which he as a character doesn't, and that moment doesn't. So what are we doing? And again, I'm willing to bet there's a cool image in the graphic novel of that.
Yeah, it's almost like the special effects guy is like, "Hey, I just learned how to keep the eyes white and the
Yeah.
teeth, and we can fade to black. And then look how cool this looks." And they're like, "Yeah, it makes no sense, but okay, put it in."
That's so dope.
Yeah.
Someone definitely said the word dope.
They said that more than once
Yeah.
in the making of this.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Yeah.
But then we see naked Leonidas. Surprise Gerard Butler's ass.
I mean, if you look like him, might as well.
If I looked like Gerard
Oh.
Butler, I wouldn't wear clothes walking down the street
I would go through the grocery store
butt naked.
just dragging it.
And you know what? Leonidas drags
Oh.
it anywhere he goes.
Absolutely. You can tell by the look on the queen's face. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's blessed by the gods. Although, not that this has anything to do with anything. How do I put this? The ancient Greeks did not share our modern idea that bigger is better.
Oh, okay.
If you wanted the statuesque, picture perfect, ideal penis, it was itty bitty. That's why if you look at Greek sculptures and they all have those little chodes,
Yeah.
that was the ideal male member. Was itty bitty.
Cool.
But Leonidas swang dick.
Oh, yeah.
He was swanging.
Apparently I'm Greek.
Oh, like a baby's finger holding a blueberry. Aren't you glad we ended up here?
Yes.
Now, sex scene.
Hey,
I get, maybe I'm a bit of a prude. I don't know. I'm not anti-sex scenes, but like with anything else, why did that scene fade to black and just that guy's eyes and teeth? That made no sense. Why is Gerard Butler naked? Why does he have softcore sex, like legitimate softcore sex with his wife on screen? What does this, why do we need to see a lot of slow motion thrusting and pumping?
In all kinds of positions.
Oh, they were at it for a while.
It's like he got the Karma Sutra book and was just, okay.
He was writing Karma Sutra.
We're going to page 4 now. I'm going to get to page 4. Let's do this one. And then, no.
It's unnecessary.
It was unnecessary. I felt like there were better ways to show them being intimate
than slow motion thrusting and pumping.
Yeah.
How can I keep using the terms thrusting and pumping? And again, and then Zack Snyder's slow-mo on thrusting and pumping.
There was so much I think that whole thing was slow motion.
It was.
Yeah, no, it's.
And going back to the music video, the music that plays, the moment of clap went to the beat of the song that was playing.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't catch that.
This scene, now that I know that, this scene is 100% music video. I get what Ebert and Cisco were talking about. Like, I get it. This scene, I see it. Oh, yeah, in my notes. Now I'm going to go home and have sex with my wife. That seemed like the best way to word that at that time.
That's what he was telling the priests when he was leaving.
I'm going to go home and sleep with my wife.
Yeah.
Fine, we're not going to go to war. And now I'm going to go home and have sex with my wife. So the next day, we see Leonidas outside the city with 300 warriors. They're armed. I'm not going to say they're armored.
No, I have more clothes on when I shower.
You have the Arrested Development cut-off shorts. You're one of the never nude.
The never nudes.
Tobias was a never nude, which is exactly what it sounds like.
I don't do nudity.
Yeah. These guys had leather diapers on.
Yes, they did.
Now, that is not historically. I guess it lent itself to the aesthetic.
The manliness.
Zack Snyder, I heard some people talking about Zack Snyder's films and how he likes to shoot things. And he loves the human form. He likes to film the human form. And this isn't like, he's gay. That's male or female.
Yeah.
He likes, especially when it's peak physical form.
Sure.
Like the Spartan Warriors were, or the Amazonians in Justice League, especially the Snyder cut. When you see like they're holding the doors open, so they're trying to get whatever away from
the mother box.
Dipshit. Also, don't talk. I hate the phrase mother box. Don't talk about my mother's box. It's weird and I don't like it. Right? But like the way he zooms and slow-mos and focuses in on muscle groups and they're clenched and they're toned and they're flexing, that kind of thing. And that kind of goes into that's part of his style and his flair. And I think we see a lot of that in this. So I'm not going to poo-poo it because it does. In a regular scene, it does look fairly ridiculous. But when Snyder is doing his thing, like in the slow motion battle sequences that we're about to get to, it works.
Yeah, and he likes to do the slow motion and almost pause it.
Oh, yeah.
And he holds for a long time on a number of shots in this movie.
Yeah. And again, sometimes it works. There's one in particular in my head that I liked it then, I like it now. And there are some where you're like, really? All right. I guess this is what we're doing, right? It's hit and miss. But they're like, hey, what are you doing? You can't go to war. He's like, I'm not going to war. Does this look like Sparta's armies? Sparta's army isn't going anywhere. I'm just going for a walk. These 300 men are my personal bodyguard. King's got to have a bodyguard. Oh, really? Where are you going? Oh, you know what? I hadn't thought about it. North. Everyone knows what's going on,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know. But I just love the way Gerard Butler just carries this moment where he's like, I hadn't really thought about it, but now that you asked, probably north.
My good king, the oracle has spoken.
The Ephors have spoken. There must be no march.
It is the law, my lord. The Spartan army must not go to war.
Nor shall it. I've issued no such orders. I'm here, just taking a stroll, stretching my legs. These, 300 men are my personal bodyguard.
Dominic West plays the politician.
Oh, yeah. Great sleazeball.
Yeah, but I cannot think of a movie that I've ever seen him in that I liked him as the character, like him as an actor.
Oh, sure.
He was in one of the Punisher War Zone or War Journal, or I don't remember exactly.
Yeah,
but he played Jigsaw.
Okay.
The iconic Punisher villain.
Yeah.
And man, he hams it up almost Joker-esque. And it's, no.
Yeah, but a lot of people fall into that trap.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, I'm a comic book villain, and everyone goes to Joker.
Absolutely. But so when I saw him in this, I'm like, oh man, I'm not a big fan.
He does fine though.
But I guess he was in The Wire.
Oh.
And I like The Wire, so I just need to shut my ass.
Yeah, but think about in this movie, he does a fine job. He doesn't have a lot to work with.
Yeah, there's not a lot for him to do or the Queen to do.
But he does fine, And Lena Headey, she was getting ready to springboard off of this into Game of Thrones, so she was fine.
That's fair.
So, they didn't need much to do. So they go north. They bump into some other Greeks who heard Sparta was on the march, and they're joining them for glory and defending their homeland. And,
There's a couple of times in this movie where Zach Snyder reaches for his gladiator love. Like when they march and the music starts to play, it's very gladiator-esque.
Okay.
And then there's a scene later on in the movie where he sees his wife. He's thinking about her.
Oh, yeah.
And she's in wheat, and he's reaching out to her. And
the Elysium scene. Yeah. You know what? Yeah. Now that you say that,
I'm like, man, don't. One time you can maybe get away with it, but no, you're going back to it too many times.
Going back to the corpse well too often.
This is what? When did Gladiator come out? 2000?
I'd have to go back in my notes, but that sounds right. It's early 2001, 2 something.
So it's not that far removed.
No. But now that you say that, yeah, you know what? I do see that. I definitely do. But you know what? The shot looked great in Gladiator, and it looked good in this too, like it did. 2000 Gladiator. But he's like, what? That Greek guy is like, what the hell is that? Where you brought 6 dudes? Where are your armies? And he's like, I got them. He's like, we kind of thought you'd at least match our numbers. And that's when Leonidas is like, hey, you. What do you do for a living? I'm a potter. What do you do? What do you do? I'm a blacksmith. What do you do? He's like, I'm a fishmonger. What the hell that guy's job is. And he's like, Spartans.
I'm a well cleaner.
I'm a well decorpser.
He's like, oh, I have one of those at my
over
village.
Here. No, that guy's still fishing out Persian mouths. Go, motherfucker.
Like, I can't go.
Look how much work I have. He was designing the first well cover.
Yes.
It's going to be big. But he's like, Spartans, what is your profession? They give the battle cry. And he's like, see, old friend, I brought more soldiers.
See, I was wrong to expect Sparta's commitment to at least match our own.
Doesn't it? You, there. What is your profession?
I'm a potter, sir.
And you, Arcadian, what is your profession?
Sculptor, sir.
You?
Blacksmith.
Spartans! What is your profession?
See, old friend, I brought more soldiers than you did.
Which is a kind of a cool moment, and it builds up that Spartan mythos that this movie's all about. And it also kind of, again, it solidifies their mindset in the audience's eyes. Like, they know they're the best soldiers in Greece. I think at this point in time, they might have been the only professional soldiers in Greece. Everyone else would have been like those other Greeks where it's like, oh yeah, when the call to war comes, I go and fight, and I have some training and I have my own equipment, but like, I work at the stables. That's
at the Staples.
Stables. I work at the I work at the local Staples. Office chairs, printers, toner. How's your toner? How King Leonidas, how are your magenta levels? Magenta always runs out first.
Yeah, you can't just replace the magenta. You have to replace the whole damn cartridge.
Right? And then you're just like, motherfucker. I don't feel good. I was going to call in sick today, and I didn't. And now I have to deal with this shit. As they're getting ready to march off to war, surprise Michael Fassbender.
Oh,
man,
shit.
How young is Michael Fassbender in this? You okay? Are you doing all right? Laughing about magenta and staples and my allergy-ridden face. My sinuses are clogged. I kind of got that thing going on where one nostril is a waterfall and the other is the Sahara Desert. You know what I'm talking? I don't even know how that happens. I'm just dying over here.
Just take your finger and transfer.
Wait, I need to take the mucus from one nostril and put it to lube it up?
Yeah, it'll make you feel better.
I'm probably not going to do that.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Surprise, Michael Fassbender. I wasn't ready for office space. Arcadian, why are you marching to war? They took my stapler. They said I would get it back at the end of the day. And then the end of the day came and I never got my stapler. That's pretty good.
That was good.
Those of you who click the link and have your bingo boards ready, you don't get to put bad impression on that one. That was pretty hot fire.
God.
Can I have my stapler?
I'll burn this place to the ground.
I'll burn Sparta to the ground if I don't get my stapler. Oh, man.
That was the Hunchback.
My father trained me to feel no pain and to make shield and spear as much a part of my body as my own beating heart.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I just killed it.
Oh, my God.
We will return to your scheduled programming shortly, or we are currently experiencing technical difficulties.
You can't laugh like that because I laugh and then I start coughing. I'm dying. Tevis is dying.
I have a hernia.
Look, I just get corpses out of wells. I don't get testicles out of stomachs, all right?
Okay.
Once again, surprise, Michael Fassbender.
How young did he look in this?
I was like, look at that baby face Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, and he's fantastic.
He really is.
As in everything he's ever been in that I've seen, man.
And given when you think about it, technically his character has a name. So there's Leonidas, and this is his story. It's the 300, but it's Leonidas' story here. And when you think about it, there are 300 Spartans. 4 of them, in my mind, I call them the inner circle, like William Wallace had his inner circle. Sure. So you have Leonidas, but then you have the captain, the captain's son, the son's friend, Michael Fassbender.
Stelios.
And then you have Faramir.
Dilios.
But other than them, those are the only 5 that get dialogue. The others are just meat.
Yeah, pretty much.
But, they take their march north. They meet up with the others. They come across a burned out village. And there are these footprints in the dirt that are human-esque, but not quite.
Yeah, somebody asks, where are all the people?
Right, they can't find any people.
Can't find any people at all. And then the child comes staggering out of the smoke.
Okay. Go ahead.
And they do this thing where the child staggers up and he just barely gets to Leonidas and falls in his arms. And I'm like, that's lame.
It is a tired cliche, but how good did it look?
With him staggering through the smoke.
Yeah, that looks great.
It looked like there was something menacing coming, and then here comes this child.
To your point, it's a super tired cliche, and it's a little bit.
Yeah.
But it looks fantastic.
Yeah, that looked really cool.
Because then you're like, well, is he okay? Because at first he's staggering, but you're like, is he just scared? But it's not till he collapses. You see like the blood pouring out of his head. You're, oh, shit. But his last words, there is kind of a haunting... There's a haunting ambivalence to them where he's just like, it's quiet now. Like, it's over. And then, he dies. And then they find all the people. Okay. All the townspeople were either murdered and then pinned to a tree so that every square inch of this tree was covered in corpse. Or the bodies were stacked up and pinned to each other in the shape of a tree. And I'm not sure which it is.
Yeah, and I'm not sure which one frightens me more.
My only thought was, Jesus Christ, this would have taken so long. How are those fires still burning? They would still be hauling people. Let me get my bow. Big, shit, I wasn't the right spot. Hauling. Big, there we go. I got him. Get the next one. That would take forever.
Yeah, one of the soldiers says, the villagers, I found them. And then they all look in that direction. And they hold this for a long, long time.
This is a long shot of, corpse tree.
And then it spins and shows the tree, and the camera's slowly kind of backing away so you can see more and more and more.
Yeah.
And you see the backs of all the soldiers staring at it. Mm-hmm. And my God, yeah, it holds for a long ass time.
So we thought the Spartans were barbaric and bestial and harsh. And now we're really getting our first taste of what the Persians are willing to do. And it does take some of the edge off of our thoughts on the Spartan, although the baby pit is still particularly rough. But
yeah,
there were babies in that tree.
Oh, yeah.
But they keep marching. But ain't got time for this bullshit. We got marching to do. They're basically in the northern area of Greece called Thermopylae. And they're approaching the hot gates where they make their stand. But that's when they're like, oh, it does look like rain. They're watching all these Persian ships dock. And then a massive storm hits. And we get Faramir doing more narration. And he's like, Zeus stabs the sky with thunderbolts. And we see all the ships just getting wrecked in this massive storm. And then all the Spartans in slow motion are cheering and clinching and high-fiving. And it's all very masculine.
Chest bumping
and roaring. Except Leonidas, who stands there with his shield up to block the rain as he just watches stoically. I love that shot.
That is a cool shot. Yeah. And it's like the soldiers are celebrating, but they don't really know that what's happening is just a small percentage of the Persians that are coming.
Right.
But Leonidas knows, yeah, this is good, but man.
Because the next morning, they approach that same overlook, but they see all the army tents and the ships docked on the shore and all this stuff. And the leader of the allied Greeks are like, that's impossible. We saw those ships smash on the rocks. They're like, that was only a small portion of the monster that is Xerxes' army. That's cool too.
Yeah, I agree.
So to make their plan work, they have to funnel the Persian army into the mountain pass that they're going to block with their shield wall. That's where they're going to funnel the fighting. So they have to rebuild the ancient wall. But those stones need some mortar.
So the Hunchback.
Yes. Ephialtes.
Thank you. So he tries to join the Spartans.
He does, but we covered all that in our Office Space spinoff.
Yeah. But the captain, he is disgusted.
Well, he's like, monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Leonidas discards the Hunchback because he can't raise his shield.
Correct.
Because he says you have to be able to protect the man next to you.
Correct.
This is one of the moments where I'm not sure Leonidas was the greatest leader.
Sure.
This guy wants to help. He wants to join your army and fight to the death for you.
Yeah.
Put him on the end where his shield doesn't have to protect anybody. Because he's already proven that he can wield a spear effectively. But you're worried about his shield. So you're just like, you can't help the guy on the right. Okay. Put him on that side of the line where there's nobody on the right. Let him help.
But see, that's one way to look at it, because Leonidas doesn't just like cast him off. He says, look, you can help us by tending the wounded, clearing the battlefield of dead. Like, you can help with non-combat roles. Because I think Leonidas knew, like, if he fights, not only does he potentially have a liability to get someone else killed, he will get himself killed.
Yeah, but he wants to fight and die for Sparta.
Sure.
So I'm like, just put him to use. And I know he said about tending to the wounded and whatever, but this guy wants to actually fight.
So I can't say, it's hard for me to say Leonidas was being a bad leader here when his actions were coming from a place of saving this guy's life.
Yeah, but you inevitably caused the loss of your entire army. Your 300 men, your 299 men.
No, it technically would have been 301.
Is that what it's? Yeah, okay. But he says
it's Leonidas and his 300 personal guard.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But they always say, 300 men.
Right.
So that one that left.
Well, that's the, it's the 301 men. No, you just say 300. Like, it's
301.
The 301. But no, I do get your point. But hindsight being what it is.
Oh, true.
So they rebuild they rebuild the wall. The Persian emissary comes up. He seems like a swell guy, being carried on his extravagant litter with a whip.
Oh yeah, those guys are the best.
Calling everyone dogs and telling them to work harder.
Yeah, I worked for that guy at the grocery store.
He whipped you?
Yeah.
Did you cut his arm off?
Yeah. I wanted to.
Would you like me to call Michael Fassbender so he can come cut his arm off?
Please.
He's like, you think the paltry sum you slew, we have scouts all over these hills. And then he really looks at the wall. And I think it's safe to say that the vast majority, if not all of the scouts in those hills, had been rounded up.
Yeah, they're the mortar.
They are the mortar for that wall. And then they cut that guy's arm off. He's like, my arm. And he's like, it's not your arm anymore. Now get the hell out of here.
I like his line about our arrows will blot out the sun.
Then we will fight in the shade.
I like that a lot.
I believe that's historically accurate.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good lines in this.
There are. Just like there's a lot of good looking shots. But day one, the wall's built, the battle, because they're like, the Greeks are like, oh God, earthquake. And Leonidas goes, no, battle formations. Xerxes' army is so numerous that as they march and run into position, they shake the very ground underneath them. The Spartans get ready. Phalanx wall up. Here they come. And the Persians charge in. And I thought this was cool. The look is great. The Persians charge in. The sheer mass of bodies are pushing the Spartans back. You see their heels digging into the ground until they stop. When Leonidas gives the call, and we've gone back far enough. And then then they give the call to push, and the front line raise their shields up and push the front line of enemies back, and everyone stabs out and cuts down 2 or 3 rows of people. Then shields are back. The guys come in, push, and they just keep pushing and stabbing.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That whole scene. But then they break that formation.
Yes.
And it goes into
Snyder.
It
gets real Snydery.
Very Snydery. Just Leonidas just taking him on.
Maybe we ought to just videotape this, play it back in slow motion.
By himself, basically.
Well, everyone is. It's now 1 on
but it's
5,000.
The camera's focused mainly on Leonidas.
Yeah.
Very slow motion. Man, if there was no slow motion in this movie, it would have been like a 20-minute long movie.
Right.
That sucks.
And to your point, if this is what the fighting was going to devolve to, why can't Ephialtes be there? Because their shield wall doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, and that's what part of my other point, too, was he's already proved he's good at his spear.
That is not a story problem. That is a Zack Snyder problem, I think.
Agree.
But we were talking about how he at certain moments especially, he really likes to hold on the physical form performing an action. And I said there was one spot in particular that I thought was just super awesome. And it's actually this moment when they first break rank and Leonidas, I don't feel good. Leonidas is just giving guys the...
You sounded like Kermit the Frog. I don't feel good.
Why are you so mean to me? I can go home and get treated like this.
Yeah, but you won't be having as much fun.
You really are a rat bastard.
Yes, I am.
Mean.
I'm sorry, you were talking about
Leonidas. It's not easy being green. Shut up.
Can you play the banjo?
But this part I really like. And when Snyder holds it, they break ranks. Leonidas is out there just giving guys the business, right? But it's specifically, I said it.
Okay.
Because it's almost focused. You can't even really see all of his head. It's almost entirely like midsections where the battle is, where the action is. But there's one, the guy's charging forward, and Leonidas is just standing there and sticks him with a spear. And you just see Leonidas, he's standing there, he does the spear thrust, the guy hits, and you see the impact just kind of like lightly shake the wall of muscle that is Gerard Butler, as the other guy is like impaled and hoisted into the air like he's made of paper. And I still think that looks good, and it's awesome because it's showing miscellaneous slave who's just out there fighting versus mountain of human.
Absolutely.
And Leonidas just effortlessly kicks the shit out of these guys, right? But there is that scene where they stop and they hold it as that guy is just in the air on the tip of Leonidas' spear, and it's just muscle. And that, again, that's got Snyder written all over it, but I do think that shot is cool.
Is this where they have they send in the horses as well?
Yes.
Yeah, where the narrators are, he says, doing what Spartans are trained to do, bred to do, born to do.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
That whole line. That was very fitting.
Mm.
And I like that the fights that the Spartans are getting into, the battles that they're getting into, really shows that this is what they are all about.
And if you notice when the horses come in, their formation has changed.
Yes.
It's not a wall, it's a point.
Yes.
So that the horses have to run the length of their formation where all the guys with spears can stab up at the horse riders. So at the end of... and then it's like, hey, they look thirsty. Let's give them... Leonidas loves nothing more than killing people by pushing them into bodies of water. Because then they're like, hey, they look thirsty. Let's give them a drink. And they push the enemy army off the cliff into the ocean.
Yeah, and here's another fantastic shot that's ripped straight from the graphic novel.
Oh, yeah.
Of them falling off of the cliff.
Why does Leonidas love throwing people into water?
I don't know.
It's kind of his thing.
I mean, it saves on having to sharpen your spear and sword. You don't have to...
You know what? He's getting better. They're not drinking the ocean water.
That's true, yeah. That poor guy at the well is like, that is what you're supposed to do. Why couldn't you have done that at home?
We are somewhat coastal. Take them that way. So at the end of fighting on day one, Xerxes summons Leonidas to come talk. And that's when the captain, they're killing the survivors. The Spartans are. They're killing the guys who are the wounded on the ground. And they're just stabbing them with the spear. And it's pretty brutal. But
yeah, they're just stepping on and over dead bodies and like, oh, wait, this one looks like it's moving.
Stab. And Leonidas is just eating an apple like an ass. And they're like, are you sure it's safe, sire? I mean, it could be a trap. And he's like, I mean, look on the bright side. If they kill me, all of Sparta goes to war. Right, they're that stupid. And that we're that lucky. He knows he could be walking to his death. And his only thought is, if that's what this is, good. This is actually beneficial to the war effort. And after all, there's no reason we can't be civilized, right? And the captain's like, of course, sire, as he stabs another
body. Yeah, I like that.
But Leonidas goes to talk to Xerxes for the first time. They're finally face to face. We see the giant golden throne Xerxes. And also Xerxes in this movie is like 8 feet tall.
7.5. Yeah, I watched a behind the scenes featurette because I guess in the graphic novel he was supposed to be 10 feet tall.
Okay.
But they tried to physically make him look 10 feet tall, and it was too much.
At a certain point, yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you filled, like that long, lean body type that Xerxes has in the movie, if you made him 10 feet tall, he'd look like an alien.
Yeah, he'd look like Slender Man.
Yeah. Like, I think for us to be able to, what's the word I'm looking for? Handle a human looking that tall, they would have to look like a giant girth wise,
like Andre the Giant.
Like Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
There is a level of height to girth ratio, right?
Absolutely.
And so, because Xerxes looks great at his height with his lean build, his long lean build, right? But yeah, if you were to stretch him anymore, you'd just be like, the hell is that?
He would look like one of those wacky waving things.
Used cars. Used cars. But no, Slender Man, I think, is a great example too. That's what he would look like.
But apparently they're like, okay, well, let's try 9 feet. No, that doesn't work. Let's try 8 feet. Still too much. Let's try 7. That's too short. So they're like 7.5. And it looks good. He looks good at that height.
He does, because it's still, you look at him, you go, God damn, guy is huge. But it's not outside the realm of possibility either. Like, because let's face it, the NBA exists, right? Yeah. There are guys that size and build playing professional basketball. Like, that's within things we see every day. So it works while still giving him an aura. But, he asked Leonidas to kneel. Actually, this first conversation, Leonidas has so many great lines in this conversation.
Okay.
Why do you fight us? We just, there's so much our cultures could gain by sharing. I don't know if you've noticed. We've been sharing our culture with you all morning. I like that one. Well, think about think about your children. Think about your women. Our women. I should have marched them up here based on what I've seen today.
On what I've seen, yeah.
That's a great one.
I like that a lot.
Of your women.
Clearly, you don't know our women. I might as well have marched them up here, judging by what I've seen.
It's not the whip they fear, it's my divine power, as he like suggestively has his hands on Leonidas' shoulders. But he says, all you have to do is kneel. Here's the thing. Slaughtering your men all day has left me with a real nasty cramp in my leg, and kneeling is just, it's not really possible right now. Leonidas is just one-liner after one-liner during this talk. He's just killing it.
Xerxes' voice.
Comically deep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't like match his mouth.
No.
And that bothers the shit out of me.
I can't say I ever remembered really noticing it. Like, I knew he had a deep voice, but never really noticed it until this watching. And it almost took me out of the movie because it just sounds like somebody just like has modulated it in some way to the point that it's
bad.
It's not the whip they fear. It's my divine power.
But it's just,
I am kind.
I'm like, God damn, no.
It's so going back to keeping things within the realm of realism. If he was 10 feet tall with the appropriate body weight of someone 10 feet tall and that voice, that works. This does not work.
No. And then he would do these weird like poses. And then like the one where he did like almost like the Batman pose where he puts his arm in front of him at like an angle and then walks forward. I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
What's happening right now? I think Xerxes could be technically defined as a poser.
Yeah.
Because he poses constantly.
That's like all he does when he's just like he'll have his arms up and praising motion and like at his side and
Dark Souls, praise the sun.
I'm like, Jesus. Oh yeah. So Xerxes and all the piercings.
Yeah.
Like,
but I think that's graphic novel too. That's
I'm sure that is. I wish I would have. No, I fucking don't wish I want to read that. I don't like Frank Miller, but
look, I devote enough money to this show. I'm not going out of my way to buy books and graphic novels and shit.
Not Frank Miller shit.
I barely have time to watch these movies, let alone read the content they're based on. But, their meeting goes less than ideal, but everybody walks away, so that's something. They were civil after all. Although, do you think Leonidas was goading him into violent action?
Oh, yeah, with him.
Like, do it.
Smack talking him?
Kill me.
Yeah.
Fuck around to find out. Bring all of Sparta up here.
I 100% think that.
So, day 2 comes. And part of Leonidas' plan works. He has insulted Xerxes to the point that Xerxes, how does Faramir put it? The enemy rushes forward with their best troops instead of waiting for death and weariness to take their toll.
Oh, the Immortals?
The Immortals come.
Yeah, so they built this wall of bodies.
Correct.
Okay. They spent how much time and energy to build this wall?
Oh, the wall of corpses.
Yeah, the wall of corpses.
Yeah, not the rock wall.
Not the rock wall.
This is like the 4th wall someone has made. They do a lot of corpse architecture in this movie.
They do. So they build this corpse wall, spend all this time and energy, and to dump it on just one guy.
They crush a dude.
And it doesn't even really take him out. He just throws the body to the side and then they come back and then stab him. And
he just goes, oh shit.
He's like, God damn it. and then they, I don't understand that at all.
It looked cool.
Did it?
It would have looked cooler if the wall of bodies crushed 3 or 4 ranks of guys.
Yeah. Because it looks like it's extremely tall.
Yeah.
But then, it just falls over and kills
It doesn't even
kill that guy. Let me just land, and it doesn't even crush him.
No.
It just mildly inconveniences him to the point where you still have to stab him with your spear.
Yes.
So that was dumb.
When you analyze it, it's dumb.
It's dumb.
The idea is cool. Not for actual battle tactics, but like for the movie. Stylistically, it's very cool. Then I feel like they fumbled in this decision-making process for it to crush a dude.
Not crush a dude. Mildly inconvenience.
For it to mildly perturb a dude. Like, if they had approached and then like 3 rows of dudes came forward and were maybe they were starting to take it down or scale it, then the push.
Yeah.
Now we've got something.
Going good. It'd almost be like in Braveheart when all the horses are charging.
And they do the spears?
But they do the spears too early, and all the horses are like, whoa, stop.
When they line the battlefield in a pitch and light it on fire, but they just lit like 3 guys on fire, not the entire infantry division. Yeah. And
one guy gets it on his sleeve, and he's like, God damn it, and he puts it out, and they're like, oh, well, fuck, we just wasted that much. And then Steven
has to run over there and stab him anyway.
Yeah.
And you just go, really?
Yeah, that's what it would have.
That is what it's like now that you say that.
It feels like that. So
I'm with you there. But yes, they have the wall of bodies, but the Immortals come. They look cool.
I like the Immortals with their masks on.
Yes.
When their masks come off.
And they're bestial. Not bestial, they're monsters.
Yeah,
basically.
I'm like, okay, they're okay looking.
The armor's where the money is.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
The money shot.
It's more intimidating.
But seeing the creature without its mask, and you see that they're not human, or at least not anymore. We know that they're responsible for the village and the corpse tree. Like, it adds to the aura of the Immortals and the story that is being told within the movie.
I agree with that.
But also I like the Immortals. We'll put that name to the test.
Yeah, that was cool. I like that.
Again, this movie has a lot of great lines.
The giant they have
dumb.
His head
is a giant toe.
Exactly.
It looks like a big toe.
It does look like a big toe, and it doesn't look like it matches his body.
No. And he's proportioned weird.
Yeah, his arms are really skinny. And his chest is really skinny, but his head's giant.
Yeah.
And his neck is weirdly thick.
Yeah. He looks like Road Warrior Hawk in the neck, but then he looks like Jeff Hardy in like the arms.
Like Spike Dudley.
Yeah. He's proportioned very oddly. But the fight scene between him and Leonidas is cool. Like, the fight scene's cool. He's kind of a bleh monster.
Yeah, and he doesn't really. Does he take anybody out?
I think he takes out a couple of his own guys.
Yeah, I like that he takes that sword to the bicep and then just grabs it by the blade and pulls it out.
Because that is, because you could, granted, none of us can accurately imagine what that feels like, but just the idea of being stabbed all the way through your bicep, you just go,
yeah.
I don't like.
But he takes that sword to the bicep and then takes a spear to the eye and pulls it out.
Yeah.
But then Leonidas just
cuts his head
off.
Well, it's hard to be big and menacing without a head.
That's true.
This movie also has a lot of decapitations.
It does.
So the monster goes down, the Immortals fall back. Then that's when we get the montage again of them fighting. The beasts come, and it's the rhino.
And it's dumb. It doesn't do it. They don't do anything. When he hits it with a spear and it goes down.
Yeah, the elephants that also get pushed off the cliff into the water because Leonidas loves pushing things into water. The magicians throwing the little grenades.
Yeah, they do nothing.
Oh, that one guy took shrapnel in the leg.
Oh, no.
I bet that hurt like a bitch.
Probably. But what about the crab hand man?
He's an executioner.
Send him out there.
What's that fat piece of shit gonna do?
Spin.
I don't think he can.
That guy looked cool. I liked him a lot.
He was a cool looking creature.
Yeah.
A lot of things blur the line between creature and man.
Oh, yeah. And we'll definitely get there with
the half-ass orgy.
That is where I'm going, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But however, though, at the end of day 2, so at the end of day 1, Spartans really didn't have any casualties. They just owned face. Day 2, though, losses are mounting. The Immortals got kills, the monsters, the magic, but we lose. Hold on, I have his name here. The captain's son, Ostanos.
Okay.
Was it his dad's fault?
I don't know.
Because he kind of distracted his boy when they thought the fighting was over.
Yeah, and okay. So they think the fighting's over, and then all of a sudden a single horse soldier comes.
Cavalryman.
Slices his head off.
Yes.
And then what happens to the guy? We never see him again.
Well, presumably he was murdered.
I want to see that.
Wait a minute. Why is it when you kill a man in the heat of battle, it's called heroic? But when you kill a man in the heat of passion, it's called murder.
God, Wayne's World. Ed O'Neill.
Ed O'Neill.
Oh,
Mother effing Ed O'Neill.
But I don't know. I understand they were trying to make this a moment that we were supposed to give a shit.
Right.
I did not.
No. I didn't in theaters either. Because we get to know him a little, but not enough for me to care. Had that been Leonidas getting his head cut off, I'd have felt something.
Yeah, but like, you know, the soldier goes and cuts his head off and then rides away, and we never see what happens to him. Just even in the background, just show him getting speared off his horse or something.
Yeah,
but the father goes, you know, batshit crazy.
Oh, he berserks, and it's
starts
awesome.
Killing more people. Which I'm like, where did these guys come in? Because I thought the fighting was over.
Well, see, maybe the father should have kept his shit to himself because the fighting was obviously not over.
Yeah.
Or maybe they shouldn't break rank and maintain where Astanos would have been safely protected with the phalanx shield wall. But what do I know?
And that was another thing, too. Like, they're supposed to be in this narrow corridor.
Yes.
Fighting.
Yes.
But every time they go off fighting on their own, it seems like this large-ass battlefield that they're on.
I think, again, that is a stylistic issue.
Yeah, but man, it just, I don't know. That threw me off the whole time.
Yeah.
I kept thinking.
The size of the battlefield is subjective to what Zach Snyder wants it to look like.
Yeah, and I understand we're getting this told to us from an unreliable narrator.
True.
So, I mean, the narrator is bullshitting most of this.
Probably.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, how does he know what was said between Leonidas and Xerxes? How does he know what happens after he leaves and has to go back?
I did think that, yeah.
So the majority of what he's saying is bullshit.
Now, I could see all the Spartans knowing what Leonidas said at Xerxes, because later at that night at dinner, he'd be like, so this big bastard comes off this golden throne, right? He's like, you need to kneel, motherfucker. And I was like, I got this cramp in my leg. Right.
You can kneel on this dick.
Tell me you can't see that.
Yeah, I can see that. But
march my women up here. Watch them kick your ass.
Another thing that bothered me was this movie. We are getting this movie explained to us by the Dilios.
Faramir, yeah.
Yeah.
Faramir? Faramir.
Why does he tell us about Leonidas and the queen having sex?
He knows what his audience likes. You remember that scene in Cabin in the Woods where that guy's like, yeah, but why do we need her tits out? And like, why do they need to have sex? We got to put on a good show. He knows what his audience wants.
That's true.
But the soldiers on a foreign battlefield, they want to hear about their king just power fucking.
Yeah.
Then he had her like this, and then he spun her upside down and was giving it to her like this. And then he flipped her over and was doing it like this.
And he said, "Give me the Amazon."
I don't believe Leonidas was ever Amazon.
I don't know. He loved that woman.
Yes, he did.
There's another issue I have with this whole thing, the narrator thing, but we'll get there when we get there.
Okay. I'm not going to lie. I don't have a problem with it, but the whole B story that we're just ignoring completely about the queen trying to get a hearing with the council to get permission for the war. No one gives a shit.
Yeah, every time it cut to her talking to that Abe Lincoln looking motherfucker.
Spartan Abe Lincoln is what my friends and I always called him. Spartan Abe Lincoln.
I'm just like,
you can hear the brakes squealing as this movie halts.
Bad.
Yeah.
Bad. And then the part where she meets up with fuckhead. What was his name? Theron. Dominic West's character. And he's like, "Oh, I'll grant you an audience with the why." Okay, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
I don't even know if you are, but
and she's like, he says, "Well, what will you do? What?" She's like, "Well, what do you want?" "Oh, I think you know." And then she's automatically like, "Floop."
Yeah.
Okay, take it. Like, what? Like, you're the fucking queen.
Yeah.
So
kill him.
Why will Spartan men not listen to their queen? Is it because she's a woman?
Yeah.
But I thought only Spartan women can give birth to Spartan men.
Correct.
So you don't listen to the person that made you?
I also think Theron's an asshole.
Who's also the queen. But even the people in the Senate will not listen to the queen.
That's true.
That's fucking dumb.
Every time the movie ground to a halt for one of these sequences, I would turn to my wife and I would go, "Why doesn't she just kill him? If she's worried about her husband and she has all this weird political opposition, flex your queenly nuts and start getting motherfuckers killed. You have a host of soldiers who, even if she, air quote, politically doesn't have that kind of power, out of sheer loyalty to her husband, would have no problem slaughtering that guy and his entire family." These movies where they're like, "I'm the king, I'm the queen, I'm the prince, and there's this bad guy, and he's interfering with our plans to save the people," or whatever. Kill that motherfucker. You want him out of the way, you are royalty. Have him murdered.
Yeah. Well, she learns her lesson because in Game of Thrones, she does all that.
And the little I have seen of Game of Thrones, that's the shit I appreciate. Where it's like, oh, this guy's a huge problem, and am I going to let him walk in here and talk shit? No, I'm going to let him come in, talk shit, and then he's going to die.
Yeah, and then the moment she meets, because they cut like 3 or 4 times to her, and
it's brutal every time, but not like the way the fight scenes are brutal and it's intense. This is just like, I have to slog through this shit.
Yeah. Well, they had to do something to pad the runtime on top of the slow motion. Because there's even a moment where she's putting her hand in the water.
And she's scooping the corpse water with she's scooping the presumable corpse water with her hand in slow motion.
I'm like, what the hell? Zach Snyder, you don't need slow motion for every single type of shot.
No one cares what her hand looks like cupping water.
It's so dumb.
And if she's not slow motion cupping Gerard Butler's nuts, I don't care.
100%. But the moment where she gets to the Senate or whatever, or the council, and she pleads her case and does this, grand speech, and she thinks, oh, well, since I let him have his way with me, then he'll help me, which
to your point, why did she go with letting him have her so easily and quickly? And how in the world did she think he was ever going to hold his word to that?
That's the dumbest move I've ever, this whole movie.
Yeah.
And then she does what you said after he pisses her off enough and accuses her of being a whore and a liar and an adulterer, and she pulls somebody's sword and stabs him. And then he hits the ground and all those coins fall out like
Persian coins,
he's fucking Sonic. Just bling, 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 bling. And they're all like, oh, all those senators or councilmen are like, oh my God.
Traitor.
He's a traitor. What the hell?
Yeah.
Stupid.
Although, if you're not listening closely, it also sounds like they're holding up gold coins yelling treasure. Treasure! I found treasure! Now, again, though, maybe I'm overthinking this, which I probably am. I always do. She goes to slap Theron, and one of the council guards grabs her arm to restrain her. She is the queen. How did she not immediately turn and face him and go, motherfucker?
Why are you touching me?
Who do you think I am?
Yeah. She's not just some wife of one of the 300.
Fishmonger.
Yeah. The corpse cleaner, the well cleaner.
Yeah, but she's burly. They don't mess with her anyway.
Yeah, she's drank way too much of that water. But I'm like, yeah, like, who the hell do you think this person is? And you could just grab her like that?
She needed to flex her royal authority a little more.
A little more, yes.
Maybe that's why I'm not royalty. I'd just be like, to hell with you. Are you familiar? I believe he's for sure passed on. But do you ever hear the comedian Tim Wilson?
No.
He has a bit about being the king of England. King of England. And just about how he'd just do whatever he wants, and the response is always King of England. And then it's like, that little pencil neck son of a bitch brother-in-law of mine show up. I'd be like, son of a bitch, 300 years ago, your nuts would be door knockers on my tower. King of England. Right? That's what she needs to do here.
Yeah, she wastes so much time.
You think Leonidas roles reversed?
Oh.
You think Leonidas would have killed everybody?
Yeah, he would have kicked that entire council into the well.
He would have forced them to get in a line, and then one at a time.
He'd have kicked them like dominoes. And just yeah. No, that whole queen side story shit.
It's weak.
It sucks.
Boring.
It's boring and sucks.
Also, maybe I'm crazy. I don't really care about Lena Headey. I don't think she's all that great. Maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, I enjoy in some of the movies she's been in. She was in the new Judge Dredd movie.
Yeah,
the
Dredd.
Newer, yeah.
Yeah, but she didn't do anything. She just played the queen of the crackheads.
I know, but she was fantastic.
Speaking of movies that rely on slow-mo, they wrote it into the plot.
Yes, but it makes sense. Unlike this movie.
We'll cup this water.
There is slow motion with water because she brings her hand up out of the tub, but she's high, so everything is on slow motion. So maybe she's high in this movie.
Queen of the Crackheads. Tell you what, she played
fantastic movie.
So wait, she played essentially a queen in 3 different prominent roles. 2 of those queens killed people indiscriminately. So why in this role is she just let people treat her like shit? Now, granted, I know the inherent ridiculousness of my question because she's not, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Back to the good stuff. Day 3, all the Greeks have retreated because Ephialtes has betrayed them. You wanted to talk about... So Ephialtes approaches Xerxes. He's going to betray the Spartans. He's going to betray Leonidas because he knows of a secret goat path that will lead behind the Spartan position.
Yes, all he wanted to do was be included.
He just wanted to play the game.
And he wanted a uniform.
Yes, he did.
And he got one.
It has a funny little hat.
What in the hell's up with this hat?
It's a birthday cone.
This is...
It's a birthday hat cone. You don't know it's a cone hat. Tell me I'm wrong.
Jesus.
And it's like purple and he has like he looks like a half-ass magician. Where you're just like, hey, who'd you get for your son's birthday party? Money's a little tight, so I got the Ephialtes the Great. And everyone went, oh, him?
Yeah, that shitty ass hat.
Wait, you mean the hat guy?
McReady's hat was awesome. This hat sucks.
His name isn't McReady.
It's McReady.
It's McCready.
It's McCready, I know.
God damn it, Jason. I didn't say anything. Damn it, Jason. No. McCready's hat is still worse than Birthday Cone hat.
Oh,
but
absolutely not.
Ephialtes does win our McCready Award for Best Hat.
Absolutely.
Yes, you see, I wanted to fight the Persian army as part of the Spartan forces. My parents were Spartans, but they were afraid that I was going to be discarded off of the mountain because I look like this, and they didn't want that to happen, so they fled. And then I approached Leonidas with my father's spear and shield that he taught me to be as part of my own body, as if it were my heart. And he said I could not fight, even though I really wanted to fight. But he said I couldn't fight the Persians. And I said, but I would like to fight the Persians. And he said I couldn't fight the Persians. So now I am here because I want to help you because I think you will let me fight. I know of a path. It goes behind the Spartans. It's a goat path. It is very small and it is hidden. But I know where it is. I would like a lot of money to help you, and I would like women to touch my ding because no one has ever touched my thing before, and I think it would be really nice if people touched my thing. But there is one other thing that I would really like. You're making me lose it, Tevis. I need you to maintain some control. I think it would be really great if I could get a uniform because I always wanted to be part of an army, and I would like a uniform to be part of the Persian army, and maybe it could have a really cool hat that could signify my importance in the army that I'm now joining. That would be great.
May I speak to you, please? I asked for Mai Tai, and they brought me a pina colada, and I said no salt for the margarita, but it had salt on it.
Holy shit.
Tevis is crying, ladies and gentlemen. Tevis thinks this is the funniest bit we've ever done.
Man, that would have made this movie so much better.
Greatest Office Space, by the way.
I love that movie.
Where are we?
I do know.
So there we go. If you want to know what happens when Ephialtes betrays the Spartans, there it was. Wait, I did that bit where I would try to sum parts of movies up really, really fast. Now I'll just drag them out interminably slow by making it the guy from Office Space.
Let's do that.
That's our version of slow-mo.
So, did I miss something?
Probably.
Delios?
Yeah.
I hate that name. How did he lose his eye?
And just from fighting. It's not shown. He's just one of the wounded, and he's wrapping his eye. The gods saw fit to give him a spare, though, which is also a fairly great line.
Yeah, when I had to rewind it because I'm like, wait a minute, what happened? And then I was like, I don't want to go all the way back to the fight because I'm like, God.
Oh, because if you had, you'd be pissed because, no, we don't see it.
Okay, because I did. I thought I missed something.
You'd be like, I rewound this motherfucker 4 times. No, we don't see it. He's just wounded.
Okay.
But they learn, they're surrounded. Game over, man. Game over. The other Greeks leave. The Spartans are ready for glory. They're going to fight to the death. However, Leonidas is like, hey, Delios, come here. I need you to go home. Because yes, you are Spartan. Yes, you are just as brave and strong and capable as anyone else here. But you have a special skill. And it's a voice that will melt butter. All these dullards, they can't tell my story. I need you to go home and tell our story. And when you do, let them know that on the eve of battle, I fucked my wife and I was like this. And then I took her leg and I was like this. Let them know.
So when the Arcadians are about to give up and retreat, Leonidas cuts a sick-ass promo. My God.
Like a professional wrestler?
It reminded me so much of a professional wrestler. He's just like, we never retreat. Spartans never surrender. And I was like, where's Miss Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Ugh.
There's no glory or victory to be had here, only death. He's like, well, that's an easy choice for us, Arcadian.
Yeah, I was expecting him to point into the camera and
the
be
cream of the crop.
Always right.
He pulled out little creamers out of his
This Sunday at WrestleMania.
Dusty Rhodes. You egg-sucking dog.
Oh, so Leonidas sends Delios back to the village.
Yes.
To tell their story, and he leaves with the Arcadians.
Now, I've been trying not to interject with like what's movie, what's real, etc., etc. In real life, there was a Spartan who, on orders from Leonidas, retreated back to Sparta to tell the story. That is true. Despite being wounded and acting on a direct order from Leonidas, everyone in Sparta treated him like shit for being an air quote coward. And he hated himself for not dying with his brothers. He committed suicide like 2 days later.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So if you want to know what happens to Faramir, he's not there a year later to lead men into battle. He hangs himself. Or stabs himself or casts himself into the corpse well, or, however he does it. He probably threw himself into the corpse well out of respect. That's what his king would have. That's how his king would have wanted him to do it. Except he goes to try it. He's like, "What the hell is this wooden? What is this wooden apparatus blocking the well entrance? How can I cast myself into the drinking waters? What is this treachery?" And the guy's just like, "Got him! Take that."
That's my design.
Oh, what the hell? That's my design. Are you a Muppet? I sound like Kermit. Why are you doing Muppet voices?
I had to get one in.
There you go. So Spartans fight. I do like the build-up, the narration. They give the Spartans one last chance to surrender, and it's like, Leonidas, it was hot, and his helmet stifling, and you see him take his helmet off and just drop it. His shield was heavy. You see him cast it to the side. The messenger's like, drop your spear. And you see the spear hit the ground, and Leonidas drops to all fours. And Xerxes poses again like he's Randy Orton. He does the Randy Orton arm pose. Look that up if you don't know what I'm talking about, because it's spot on accurate. But Xerxes is posing again, triumphant, but then it turns into his helmet was stifling. It narrowed his vision. His shield heavy. It threw him off balance. And his helmet narrowed his vision, and his target was far, and the shield threw him off balance, and he had to throw fucking whatever. I don't have it written down. I'm fucking this up, but it's all a ruse. Leonidas throws a spear, and it cuts Xerxes' face.
Yeah,
maybe he should have aimed for the body.
Should have aimed for the head.
He did aim for the head.
Only a little better. But yeah, he gives him like the half Joker smile.
Yeah.
But before that, when that Spartan ball opens up,
the death ball,
and Fassbender comes running out and does a Hardy Boys move off of King Leonidas.
Yeah.
And
Whisper in the Wind.
Chills the... Yeah, there we go. I couldn't think of one.
Hits him with a Whisper in the Wind.
Kills that messenger. I'm like,
another messenger.
The fucking messengers, man. You don't have a chance. But so Leonidas, he's standing there, and he's got arrows in his chest.
Yeah.
Man, those arrows, they look like shit. Just the special effects. That it was so bad. At one point, I think I saw one like move to the left and right because they weren't
stuck on really well.
It didn't work at all for me. The special effects in this have hit and misses,
and they've aged.
But man, no, that one.
And so, although I did like, the arrow, they're fighting in the shade again, air quote fighting. Arrows cut everyone to pieces. Leonidas is there, he's dying. And Michael Fassbender's character is there, and he's riddled with arrows. And but he sees Leonidas, he reaches his hand out. Leonidas, they grab hands, it bonds a brotherhood. And he's like, my king, it's an honor to die by your side. And then Leonidas hits him with, and it was an honor to live at yours. I'm like, fan-fucking-tastic. I love that.
That was a good line. I did like that.
Then Leonidas grabs a sword and gives a big lion roar, and they just murder him with arrows. Now, my favorite bit, though, he gets riddled with arrows, right? They send a whole nother volley just to kill Leonidas, right? And it fades to as the arrows block out the sun and hit his body, it blocks out the camera shot. I actually like that fadeaway.
I did too. That was fantastic.
And then it's kind of ruined because the camera does ultimately cut back to the camera does kind of cut back and you see Leonidas and the surrounding Spartans riddled with arrows. I'm like, and ruined it. Seeing them all. But also, what I think is funny is you see Leonidas' corpse, which in this moment, again, detracts from that great ending he got with the arrow fade out. But if you look, you were talking about like the arrows that didn't work for you. This is what got me more than this is where the arrows, because he's riddled, except for his face and his groin. Pristine.
Really? I noticed the face wasn't. But I did notice there was a couple of soldiers next to him that had one or two in the face.
Yeah,
but
not Leonidas, not his face or his groin.
Oh yeah, no, can't hit the goods.
Xerxes wants that saved.
Yes. So I have.
Oh no!
I have in my notes, and I misspelled that. Dilios. I have dildios.
Dildos.
That's wrong.
Yes, dildos. Continue.
Dildos. So Dildios is back, and he's talking to the council.
Yes.
Telling this story.
Yes.
But then it also cuts to him talking, because we see it every once in a while throughout the movie where he's talking to the soldiers.
Right.
But then at the end it cuts and he's talking to the council. But then it cuts again and he's talking to the soldiers on the battlefield.
Right.
Is this just him retelling the same story to... Okay.
That's how I took it.
That's how I took it too.
I imagine he's telling this story to anyone who will sit down for 5 minutes. He's at the bar. Did I tell you the story of our brave king? Yeah, dude, you told me when we were peeing in the alley. And he's like, let me tell you about Leonidas and the bold 300.
So, this whole narrator thing didn't work at all for me, being that this movie is a big fat lie.
It's not a lie. It's he took artistic license with the story and enhanced it.
Yeah, because he's like, the giant
Xerxes
monster that Leonidas decapitated, and the army of the Persians is so grotesque with their crab-like hands that cut off the heads of the generals who failed him, and
monsters from across the world.
Yeah, and it's just. There's a lot of things that he says that I'm like, how? You are obviously bullshitting because you don't know what was said when Leonidas went up to meet the lizard people. You don't know.
Not lizard people.
You left the battle. You don't know what the hell happened at the end. So shut up.
Maybe that's why Leonidas doesn't have any arrows in his face or dick.
Yeah, he's like, we had to keep it pristine. No, that guy's voice is amazing, but when I see him talking, it's like the voice doesn't match the frame for me.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's because there's a certain... Would it be a sound quality that comes through when you're narrating something versus somebody engaging in dialogue in a scene? But for him, his voice is always narrating.
Yes.
So like even when he's talking to Leonidas, it's still the narrator sound.
I agree.
All right. So we're there.
I think we're there.
All right. So that was 300. Ratings time. IMDb 7.6. Rotten Tomatoes 61.
Dang.
Seems low to me.
That's a little kind of a huge difference.
Yeah.
What did Gene Shalit think of this?
Who?
You don't know who Gene Shalit is?
No.
Oh my God. He looks like he was a movie critic. I don't know if he's still
We're a
alive or not.
Siskel house.
But he looks like Professor Poopy Pants.
Does he really?
He does. He 100% does.
I love that.
I'll pull up a picture. You do your reviews.
New York Times. So, okay. I want to clarify this. Otherwise, the quote doesn't make a ton of sense. What? What the fuck is that?
That's Gene. That's Gene Shalit.
That's not a person. That's a Muppet. That's fake.
That is Professor Poopy Pants.
What is that? Everyone right now, Google what's his name?
Gene Shalit.
I'm talking. You can't just do that to me, man. What the fuck is that? That's the fakest looking person I've ever seen. That's a super villain. That's not a movie critic. Oh my God. I can't read my writing now. Woo! Woo!
Oh my God.
Well, that hurt. All right. New York Times. They talk about how one day this movie will probably find its place within our culture. But at present though, its muscle-bound, grunting self-seriousness is more tiresome than entertaining.
Okay.
And I get where they're coming
I
from. Because there are some moments where you're like, come on, guys, everything is gloom and doom to the nth degree sometimes. Like the boy walking through the smoke and the fire and the...
Yeah.
Eaves. Do you want the star or the blurb first?
The blurb.
My deepest objection to the movie is that it is so blood-soaked. When dialogue arrives to interrupt the carnage, it's like the seventh inning stretch. Which is pretty much exactly what we talked about. When it gets to the point, especially with the Queen, you can hear the brakes screaming out under the strain of how quickly this movie crashes to a halt.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
2 stars.
Oh, okay.
Do you want me to start or do you want to start?
Go ahead.
Unless you're going to ambush me with more comically ridiculous looking people.
No, I won't.
Okay.
I promise.
He looks especially the one picture where he's got the bow tie. It's exactly like Professor Poopy Pants.
I know, right?
That is the funniest shit today. Bar none. All right.
Gene Shalit.
Gene Shalit, you living cartoon of a man. My God. All right. So 300 is a movie. Again, I saw it in theaters. I enjoyed it. I own it. Watching it again for the show and really scrutinizing it more. It has aged both in visual effects. The vast majority of the time, Snyder's style does nothing for me. I do not like Zach Snyder. I just don't. This is probably his best movie he's done. And so this movie, it's a mixed bag. For every good, there's a bad. For every great, there's a terrible. But if you like action movies, if you're in on, the action and all of that, or if you've never seen this movie, and admittedly, the visual style based off the graphic novel is cool and hasn't aged. Yes, and are some of the spots you're just like, goddamn, how many shades of brown exist? Let me count them because they're all on the screen right now. But there are also moments where you're like, that looks gorgeous. That's fantastic. So if you've never seen it and you've never just soaked in the visual spectacle that it can be, I'm going to say $300 is worth the ticket price. I think overall, this movie does more good than bad. It's a fun watch, especially if you're just looking for a hack and slash, blood, sword and sandal. Yeah. Gerard Butler's ass, let's make it happen. Worth the ticket price. Fuck Zack Snyder. No, actually, I wrote this down. And I was going to mention it in final thoughts, and I almost forgot. Watching this movie again for the show made me angry. By the time the credits rolled, I actually got a little mad. Because now I can't help but wonder how much better this movie would have been in the hands of a competent director. In the hands of someone who actually knows what the hell they're doing behind the camera. How much better this movie would have been.
I agree with that.
I think that between the actors, the writing, the writing would have been better. The actors were there. The visual style was there. Give someone who knows how to write the pen to adapt it to adapt the screenplay, and then get a competent director, not Zack Snyder, that guy sucks. And this movie could have been legitimately something special instead of a flash in the pan spectacle that it is.
Okay. I'm not a Zack Snyder fan either. I've watched multiple Zack Snyder films. They all kind of have a few good qualities, but most of the time, the bad outweighs the good.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the case here. Like, it's a beautiful looking film most of the time. The actors are fine. Gerard Butler is good. I love Gerard Butler. He's great. Michael Fassbender is great. Everybody else, like, I didn't give a shit about. Honestly, I didn't give a shit about any of them except Leonidas.
Yeah.
And even when he dies, I'm like, oh, okay. Xerxes was, he's just this tall guy. He just, I don't know. He didn't really feel threatening to me. Way too much slow motion. It's like you cannot have one single scene without a slow motion shot in it.
Combing my hair.
Yeah. Like, what the hell, man? I'm pulling water up in my hand slow motionly. Like, come on.
Slow motionly. Wait, we've got all kinds of verbs in this. Slow motionly, fist clenchy.
I like the end credits they did of the animation.
Oh, yeah.
That was really cool. That kind of got me to thinking what this movie would look like as an animation. I think that would have worked really well.
I never thought about that. That would be sweet.
Yeah. The Queen, that whole storyline, like you said, there's a lot of moments where they are talking and it bogs the whole movie down. It makes it really, really boring. And even some of the action scenes are kind of boring.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they have the horses are running in and they are in that formation of the point. That was kind of boring to me. The only good thing I can say about this is Gerard Butler as Leonidas. He does a great job of delivering the great lines that he has, and he does a good job of delivering the shitty lines that he has. I don't know. I enjoyed this movie when it first came out, but it wasn't one that I was like, oh my God, I gotta have it in my collection. Somehow I got it in my collection. I don't know. But I haven't watched this film in probably since it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care to watch it again. I don't care to ever just throw it in to enjoy it. If I want to watch something sword and sandal, there's a lot better options.
Yeah.
And I can't. This is not worth the ticket price.
Oh.
There's way better options out there. If you want to see the visuals, they're super cool. Pull it up on YouTube. No, can't recommend it.
That's fair. You know, normally we sometimes banter, but when we disagree, I teetered on this one. I will respectfully disagree, but I 100% see your point and agree that this could very easily not be worth it.
Yeah, there's just too many boring moments and too much slow motion.
Think about what it could have been if someone competent did the writing and directing.
John Woo.
This could have been special. It could have.
I agree.
It's not.
No, and it almost feels like it's such a simple story that it didn't need to be a full-length film. It just seems like there was so much stuff that was there unnecessarily. Like all of the Queen shit.
Right.
And like I said, if this movie, what was this movie? Like an hour and...
It's almost 2, I think.
Yeah, 1 hour, 57 minutes.
Yeah.
I think if they took the slow motion out of it and all the Queen shit, this movie is an hour 10.
Could be.
I mean...
Yeah. But, okay, if I'm writing this story, let's say, because it's been almost 20 years since this came out, if somebody else, not adapting 300, just somebody else wanted to make a movie about the Battle of Thermopylae, right? This is a historical event. You can make movies about it, right? And let's say I was penning the script. You have Leonidas talking to the messenger and the council. I dropped a tissue. I get it. I'm trying not to mess up our workspace. But the camera, the focus stays with Leonidas and the 300. As you go forward, we never cut back to the city, to the Queen. I'm not looking back. Because I would use that time to develop the inner circle of characters more.
Absolutely.
To make them more special. I would want to write it to the point that the Spartans were self-assured and confident and strong. But one of the issues, you mentioned how some of these fight scenes get boring because Snyder's style gets old quick.
Yes.
But also, when do you feel jeopardy or peril?
Never.
For any of them?
Never.
And as we harp on over and over and over, if your main characters, especially in their conflict, in their combat in this instance, aren't in jeopardy, it doesn't make them look strong. It makes it boring.
Absolutely.
Even if, okay, now, like the monsters and all of that, if that's the way you want to tell it, cool, I guess. I probably wouldn't go that direction with it. But like when the immortals come to play, there needs to be tension. There needs to be, maybe Leonidas is calm and composed, but you can sense his worry. He's not afraid because that's not the Spartan style. You know, that would betray what your characters are about.
Sure.
But they can still be worried or have concern or when they finally get around the goat path, the Persians do. That's, you know, I feel like we should see more there. We should experience more emotion than just like in 300, we get anger and that's it.
Oh, absolutely.
And we should definitely get anger. But that's a long night knowing they're going to die. What else does that night hold for them? They're having dinner together for the last time. What's happening?
Yeah, that would have been a perfect opportunity for some kind of character building.
If you're going to slow this movie down, which everyone's like, well, you know, grinds to a halt because we're just doing it, but you need it. Like, you know, levity and everything, you know, you need all your elements to make it work. So you need those character building moments. And So instead of cutting back and forth between what's happening in the city, what's on the battlefield, we've got these guys in a situation that's almost impossible to put yourself in their shoes, right? So we, as the filmmakers, should be doing our best to put the audience in those shoes. And that's by showing the character building moments in between, right? There needs to be concern in the fight, and there needs to be struggle. There needs to be, and again, it's just a lot of missed opportunities, I feel like. But that was Zach Snyder's interpretation of the graphic novel adaptation, blah, 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 blah. Don't even redo. We've talked about like someone should remake this movie. It's been long enough. Let's see someone else take a crack at it. Don't even remake 300. Just tell the story of this battle and do it in a character-focused way that draws us into Leonidas, draws us into his inner circle. You can't get attached to all 300. That's unrealistic. But draw us into that key core of characters and then show us the peril of the 3 days of battle that was Thermopylae. That's how I do it.
Absolutely. I love that.
So come on, guys. It's not that hard.
Yeah. Just let me get connected with 5 guys, 4 guys, whatever. And, 4 guys in Leonidas, 5 guys in Leonidas.
And then show us that group as they struggle with dealing as their numbers dwindle. We have our core of 5. Maybe one of them doesn't make it at the end of day 1. Now we're at 4. Then day 2 rolls around. Maybe we're down to 3. How are we saying goodbye to these characters? Then that final day of battle, they're surrounded. It's on. I would want to draw that last day of battle out, I think. Not slow-mo style, because that's unnecessary, but I might put most of the money into that final day of fighting.
Yeah, because I felt super quick.
And with that, because now we've got the other days of combat, we got the cool, awesome moments, we got the sad moment, but this is now culminating to this final day of battle. Our characters know how this ends. Our audience knows how this is going to end. Think about Gladiator. Zack Snyder had a lot of inspiration from Gladiator, and that's not a bad thing. Maximus gets stabbed. He gets captured. He gets stabbed. And very slowly, we watch him die through the fight scene. And we as the audience know he doesn't walk away from this. Then when he does die, we know it's coming. It's not a shock, but it hits like a truck. William Wallace is captured. He is sentenced to death. We see him drug out to be tortured. We experience his torture. Then he's finally beheaded. We've known for how long now he's not getting out of this. And then we get the agonizing experience of waiting for the sword of Damocles to come down on him. So now we as the audience know this is it. We give that final dinner, maybe a little breakfast, whatever, we get that final together. And then you agonizingly drag your audience through the final battle, tease them with hope even. And then one by one, you're watching the Spartans get cut down. You watch the remaining core, one by one, get cut down. And you drag that out to the bitter end, like the Spartans fought to the bitter. And honestly, I would probably try to do it historically. In that third day of fighting, Leonidas dies pretty quick in that final day.
Yeah, didn't he take an arrow to the chest? Like,
I don't remember how. I'd have to look it up. but without having done homework. But I know he dies super quick, and the Persian troops steal his body to bring it as a trophy to Xerxes. The Spartans, filled with rage, break rank, charge the Persians that took the body, fight through the enemy line, regain his body, drag it all the way back to their side of the battlefield, and then form their battle lines as a shield around it. Not only are they not going to give up the field until every one of them is dead, the Persians will not lay another finger on their king as long as one of them draws breath. Kill Leonidas. Have 2 of the core left, or maybe 1 of them. No, I think 2 of them with the other survivors, and you drag that shit out.
I love that.
In a story-based fight. That's how I do it.
Yeah, it's similar to like Saving Private Ryan, where we could just spend time with this group of guys
in that final fight.
And we lose one with Caparzo, and then we lose another with Wade, and then, you know, we're in that final fight, and it's slowly each one of them get taken out.
The bell tower goes down. Jackson's gone, and that's how you do it.
Yeah, that's definitely how this should have played out.
So 300 is what it is. Because there's not another movie like it and telling this story, I almost talked myself into switching my answer. But because if you're interested in this story and wanting to see it on the screen, your options are crazy limited, right? I think there might be like a real old movie about the Battle of Thermopylae, but I'd have to do more homework on that. So until someone comes along and does a movie about this moment in history and does it right, 300 is still worth the ticket price. When we get that moment and the movie's done right and it's awesome, 300 is in the garbage and we all move on.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right. Where's our hat?
Is it my turn?
I don't remember.
I think it's your turn.
All right. It's always my turn.
I know.
Digging in the hat. I'm going to get the hat that has the slips of paper that have all the movies. The movies are written on those slips of paper. And now I am reaching in with my hand, and I am looking around. I'm looking around, and I think I will pull out this slip of paper. This one seems to be calling to me specifically. And our movie is Eddie Murphy.
I like that already. Well, okay, maybe.
You thought about it.
Yeah, he's had some real stinkers.
Haunted Mansion. No. No, what? No, it's not Haunted Mansion. It's Dr. Dolittle.
Jesus.
No,
Christ.
It's not Dr. Dolittle. No. We are looking at the Eddie Murphy, we'll call it movie. We'll call it film. Beverly Hills Cop.
Nice.
We are looking at Eddie Murphy, Beverly Hills Cop for episode 47.
I like that. I like that a lot.
All right. Anything else you want to tell the good people?
No. I'm good. I'm tired as fuck.
Well, you've been up since like 3 a.m.
I have.
All right, everyone. Then we will wrap it up so we can go to bed because we are old men. As always, I want to thank you all for tuning in and listening. Your support is still, it's gratifying. It's overwhelming that people want to take the time to listen to this silly show and derive any entertainment at all from the 2 morons that present it. As such, as lead moron, I am Jake, and I want to thank you all. Backup moron, Tevis, sitting across the way. We are Ticket Price. That was 300. Tune in next week for Beverly Hills Cop. Be good to each other. Be good to yourselves. Thank you for listening. Zach Snyder, if you could just stop making movies because your movies are terrible, and I think you are grossly overrated, and everything you touch dies of plague.
The world will know that free men stood against a tyrant, that few stood against many. And before this battle was over, that even a god king can bleed.